My name is Bill, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Bill, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Bill, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. You are going to be out. You are going to be bigger and larger than ever. Imagine the impossible. And you know why? Because just you and I will find the power that's been dormant inside of you all of this time. And all of this time, you were afraid to go out no longer. That means you will be the sun. You will be the God when God is looking. You will be the one that everybody comes to and says, "Hey, look, they're there. The master's there. The teacher there. They're the one that will make my life different." And who am I to do that? Remember, I just tell you, I'm here to tell you, I'm here to change your life. Your life will no longer be the same. Together, I'm going to conquer your world. Before you know it, everything you imagine possible, you become possible for one simple reason. Everything is possible, possible. My name is Bill, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Bill, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different.
And welcome to another program, Uncommon Sense. And hang on for a second while I try and get myself organized. Just when I thought I was all plugged in, I guess it wasn't. So here we go again, one more time. Let me see here. Hey Ashok, welcome to Uncommon Sense. And today's topic is going to be about relationships and enlightened relationships. And so if you'd like to be part of the show, Ashok, which I suggest you do become part of it, let me put up some links. Where would it be? Here. And let me put it up. A little bit discombobulated, copied. Let me put it here. And here is the link to be part of this show. It looks like I'm broadcasting to YouTube as well. Okay, it showed that I wasn't doing that earlier. So now we're on. And it's going to be a very special topic today. And then later when I'm talking to Ashok, I'll tell him what it is that we're planning to do differently for Uncommon Sense from now on. I've been trying to find a different way. Hey, Jacqueline, welcome to the show as well. Today we're going to be having a very loose structure. And the structure involves not so much being fixated on what it is we're going to be speaking about, but instead, we're going to try and get it a little bit more personality-based, a little bit more intimate, if you will, speaking about many different things. Let me first of all get into, but instead, and that's my, see, I'm on this so that I know when you are leaving comments. And let's see who's on board. My mother, hey Mamji, welcome to the show. And Bin, welcome from Perth as well. And Ashok, we're waiting for you to come on board. And wanted to talk to you about a few things. Remember, we had a question that you were going to be answering at some point. So you're most welcome to come and make your point in that descriptor that we had last week. Basically, what's going to happen on Friday. He couldn't make it today because he's busy on a business deal. If it works, then it will be something that he's been wanting to do or wanting to set up or has been setting up for the past year. The conclusion is happened to be today, exactly when the show started. I didn't tell him in time, so it created a little bit of a scheduling error. But I wanted to do what is called a father and son broadcast with Uncommon Sense. I've been teaching psychology all through this medium. I've been teaching people about relationships, things that are related to, wealth, abundance, and health, and all that from a mind perspective. But I wanted to go a little bit further, and not just my perspective, but the perspective of somebody who's in that quote unquote millennial uh, part of the planet, the millennial beings, and someone that people can relate to, the angst that teenagers are feeling, and so on and so forth. And you know how people are heading into suicidal mode most of the time, and how we can actually help save people from massive depression. And the depression can come from things like a dysfunctional relationship, not just with somebody you're married to, or somebody who's married to somebody else, whichever the case might be, or it could also be dysfunction within the family, and how to deal with that. Sometimes, like a like a bad cancer, you know, like what Trump is doing is not the right thing. He's saying something like, if we don't test people, we won't get more cases. Yeah, it's like saying, if I don't go to the doctor and ever check to see if I have cancer, then cancer doesn't exist. That's the same kind of thinking. So if you have an issue, if you have a conflict, if you have a communication error, if you have pain or suffering in a relationship with someone, then if you don't talk about it, if you don't bring it out, if you don't lay it out in front of you, then it's never going to get better. In fact, it's going to get worse. It's going to accumulate. Dr. Arut Siva is here. He's my physician who is not my physician. He's trying to prevent me from seeing physicians. Good guy, and he runs a restaurant in Singapore. He's vegan, I think, or vegetarian. Vegan or vegetarian? Which one is more accurate? Arut, I don't know. Arut, in fact, while we're waiting for Ashok to come on board, and I think he may not come. He greeted me in the beginning, but he may not come. Why don't you click on that link that you see in Facebook? I see you on Facebook, I don't see you on YardStream, and maybe StreamYard, and maybe you can come on board and chat a little bit about stuff. Lacto-vegetarian. Aha. So no milk, just vegetables, but everything else is okay. Wait, but ghee is also part of. Isn't that not that's a lacto thing? No, butter, milk, making ghee. I don't know now. I am just grateful that I have something to eat, and that keeps me happy. So Arut, if you want to be part of this broadcast, there's a stream here that will help you join on. Ashok said he'll join us later in 10 minutes. So Arut, I would love to speak to you. Please polish your head. You don't have to comb your hair so much. There isn't much there. But I would love to chat with you because you have a lot of relevant things to say about health and diet and everything. I'm talking about mental health. But you know, mental health can only go so far if you don't take care of your physical health. Don't you agree? Anything from cow is okay except beef. No. Okay, there's a lot of things that come from cow. A lot of people drink that stuff too. So, Arut, if you would like to be part of this, I'll make it easier for you. There's a link that you're going to see in front of you. Click on that link. You don't have to do anything else. You can do it on a computer, which is easiest, or you can do it on your telephone, which is just as easy. You don't need to install anything. Nothing needs to be done. That's the ease by which this thing works. You don't have to have something so terribly complicated to be able to deliver good content. First of all, good content is necessary, and then will be nothing happens when I click. Isn't that the terrible complaint for a lot of people? You try to click and nothing happens, and it's always very tough. I don't know why it wouldn't happen for you. What you can do is copy and paste that entire link onto a new tab. Try that, and that would work. That's the sometimes if you're using anything but an iPhone, I cannot vouch for how it works. No, in my mind, Samsung is a Korean word that means piece of crap. But anyway, my iPhone doesn't give me any problems like that. So I'm an iPhone person. And if you're wondering why my hair is in terrible state, like it is, it's because somebody made a comment just before I started my show. They said, please, you need to go see a barber. Your hair needs to be combed better or something. And I said, so I ruffled it up. And I said, let's make it worse. Couldn't copy as well. I am Android. No wonder you're an Android. How are we going to do this? So Android users, you live on a different planet. If you can assist Arut Siva, Dr. Arut Siva, to get on, that would be very, very helpful, and I would appreciate that as well. So other than that, if you have any questions for Dr. Arut Siva, please don't hesitate to ask, and he will answer it in the best way he knows how. So welcome to the studio, everybody. And while I wait for these gentlemen to come on, and if you do succeed in coming on, you will be in my backstage, and I'll see you, and I will bring you on board. So keep trying, Arut. That would be very, very good. I'll wait for Ashok to come before I cover the things about moving away from Joycelyn. Welcome from Scotland. And when somebody asked me a question about love, they said, do you believe in the Buddhist version of love, the Buddhist philosophy of love? If you want to realize how they do it, it's not so much about detachment as it is the experience of non-attachment, which is completely different. And you have to understand that as well. See, there are several elements, and I think it was Siddhartha himself who talked about the elements of love that make it into something called true love. And these elements must combine to make the experience of true love long-lasting. And they're not magical, they're not spiritual concepts, they're very simple behaviors, actually, and virtues that we must hold in order to make love strong. So these four elements are easy to grasp, and they have a relationship, enhancing quality about them, which will make your relationships more joyful and fulfilling. One of them, to begin with, the first concept is called Maitri, which is an interesting idea, and that's a Buddhist name, and it comes from the quotation or the understanding that to conquer the anger or angry people, one by the way to let me try it again, to conquer anger in any person, the way to do it is by not getting angry in return. You know what I mean? You have to conquer the wicked by goodness. You have to conquer the stingy by generosity. And you have to conquer the liar by speaking the truth. So in this way, Matri is translated into kindness or benevolence. Now, this is not only the desire to make someone happy, but the ability to do so. And you may have every intention to love someone, but the way that you love these people will make them unhappy if you don't do it correctly. So you can harness the ability of Maitri by truly looking at the one you love and developing a deeper understanding of who they are as a person. So by understanding the person you love, you will in turn learn how to love them. So this kind of understanding is based on the ambitions, the desires, and maybe even the troubles of your love. So by doing that, what you need to do is to develop the element of attention, to attentiveness. So you need to take time to be attentive and to observe your love, to listen to their words and ask them about their hopes and ambitions and learning more about this love you your love for these people, by knowing more about them, helps to open these doors of understanding, and for you to be able to step into somebody else's shoes, and how to love them will become easy, and it will become more meaningful and more fulfilling as a result as well. Let me see if anyone has come up yet. Ah, yes, he is.
Yeah, finally. Thank you.
Arut, how are you? It's good to see you, sir.
Same here. Very good. Thank you. Your new room and your broadcast equipments look fantastic.
Oh, wait. This is not the room. Can you believe it? The real room is coming up. We'll be broadcasting from the room as soon as I get my wires attached, which I haven't got yet. That's the problem. Yeah, not yet.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Yes. It'll be there. So you're looking good. You're looking like you're ready for a police mugshot with that background in the back there, like that.
I'm on my bed.
Oh, you are? Okay. I won't. Then I'll ask you not to pan down with the camera then. So,
no, definitely I won't.
Hey, listen. I've been talking about mental health, emotional health, in all this time, and we talk about relationships a lot. Even though we try to expand into other areas, I'm always dragged back into relationships. So,
right.
And I realized that you can have a good mental, emotional relationship with someone, but what about health? I mean, if you're not healthy, then the relationship suffers. Isn't that true?
100% you're right. I mean, health matters the most. Can you believe I have a customer, the moment he had 4th stage cancer, his wife kicked him out of the house. He said, I have no time to take care of you. And he's not the first case. I come across few cases, and another recent case, his wife just divorced him because he had cancer. He said, I can't wipe your butt. So I realized in this world, what matters is the health first. If you have health, you have everything. Absence of health, it means absence of wealth and absence of life too.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs got all the money, billionaire, but even his money couldn't save his life.
Yeah.
So what matters is the health. And if only when we lose health, we know the true colors of the people around us from my 20 years of experience. And even in my clinic now, what I see is so-called poor people. They have the entire family coming and sitting around the treatment bed. Whereas for all the rich people, they come all alone and go back all alone. They're so lonely in the journey. Well, it doesn't mean the family is not supporting. But to me, when I see so-called poor people, the entire family, they will ask me to remove everything and they will all sit on the floor. Well, sometimes it brings tears to me. I mean, the love they have for the person.
Right.
But I don't see the same thing with rich people. They come all alone. That's why I realized money is not the thing. Health, true, real health is the real thing in life. All others are fake.
Have you ever met healthy millionaires?
So there are definitely.
Okay.
I would say your dad is one of them.
Yes, that's true.
91.
Very healthy.
I still have his book.
92.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 92.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have the book right on top. So everyone I say, look, my oldest, healthiest customer, turn to page 102 and read his book on how he stayed healthy up to 92.
And June 17th, my mother became 88.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
Yes, a few days ago. She's listening to this program right now.
Oh, great.
Yeah. We try to eat healthy. We're more vegetarian because of you right now in the house. And we only eat like small animals like squirrels and rats and things. Not the big ones anymore. Not as much.
I know you know, rest all don't know.
Yeah, well, we cannot help with the insects part. They are everywhere. So the rest of it is as much as possible. They have pretty much given up milk because I remember a conversation with you that milk is one of the most deadly things you could put in your body. Tell us more about that.
I visited one of the place where they extract the sperm of the bull to send to all over the world dairy farms. So if you look at the bull, it's almost so big, so massive, which doesn't occur in nature. So their job is to make the udder bigger and bigger so that they can extract 45 liters to 50 liters of milk, which is totally not natural. When
Bull
we had
milk?
our dairy milk, yeah.
Bull
So they
milk.
pick, sorry?
Bull milk is not
No,
drinkable,
no, no.
right?
No. I mean, they make the sperm to pregnant the cow to make it
Oh,
more. Uh,
say, I missed that part.
so I was shocked myself. I mean, I look at the udder of a traditional cow, which is so small, and it only makes few liters, 3, 4 liters. That's all you can get. But
Is that what
these
you spend your time doing, looking at the udders of cows?
in fact, now I set up my own dairy where I have the certificate to show the milk of that cow is A2 protein, which is closer to like our mother's milk protein structure.
Well,
Just
please
waiting for.
tell us about the difference here, because I've heard about this, that A1 milk is bad for you and A2 is good. Tell us what the difference is.
No, see, Indians have been drinking milk for 5,000 years. Milk, butter, ghee, yogurt is all part of our lifestyle. But
Right?
suddenly now they say milk is bad. Honestly,
Hmm.
milk is not bad. The things what we did to the gene of the cow is bad.
Hmm.
You see, nature and us, we evolved together for 4 billion years. But
Right.
in the last 120 years, humans started to tweak everything, the seed, the sperms of everything.
Don't
Not
don't put your
natural.
right hand on the. You're using a computer, aren't you?
No, I'm using my phone.
Okay. Don't cover the speaker, because then you get cut off. Now you're
Oh, right.
perfect. Now you're perfect.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
So because of all this unnatural thing done at a
Yeah,
genetic level,
it's gone again.
ah,
You're
is
resting
it
it
okay
on
now?
something.
Is
Yeah.
it okay
Now you're great.
Okay. So because we evolved together for 4 billion years, but in the last 120 years, we started to change the genetic level. So our body couldn't recognize a lot of things at the genetic level. So it triggers as eczema and allergies, and we say milk is bad. No, it's not the right thing. Whether we are
Hmm.
drinking milk or milk like substance is what we need to look at, and not blame the
Okay.
whole milk unnecessarily.
Okay.
So this A2 milk is what the traditional breed. Actually, my friends have to bring it from Gujarat, and it's from the Krishna's Yahava family. The main job is to just protect the cows.
Right.
For them, it is sacred. So we tested the blood. So it has the same A2 protein structure. So
I
that
see.
milk, if we drink, it won't cause any problems, but not the commercial ones.
I
Because
see.
milk
Okay.
alone, I needed 1 hour topic because there are so many technical terms. If you go to a market, you will
Right.
see UHT milk, pasteurized milk, homogenized milk, recombined milk, reconstituted milk. So there are so much of technical terms we've introduced, but none of them is milk actually.
And that term pasteurized came from Cleopatra, wasn't that right?
No, Louis Pasteur.
Oh, okay. Then my information was wrong. I was told that Cleopatra used to bathe in milk all the time in Egypt, to be able to keep her skin supple and moist and everything. And then somebody asked her, Mark Anthony asked her, so what do you do? She said, well, I sit in the bath, and then he asked the question, pasteurized? She says, no, only up to my breast, and I splash it the rest of the way.
I mean,
Tell
they
us-
say Cleopatra bathed in Ace's milk, not cow's milk.
A lot of actually, I'm just joking, but the joke comes to cosmetics, because cosmetics uses a lot of milk extracts as well, right? There's a Japanese.
They take the peptides,
They take the
and
what?
mainly the fat layer
The fat. Okay,
for moisturizing purposes.
I see. Okay, is that
Yeah.
good? Bad?
No, you see, there are 2 items in this whole world for which there is no expiry date. I mean, I would say 3 items. Guess what they are?
Ex-wife. Oh, you're talking about food.
Yeah. You can't eat ex-wife. You can't
Well,
even touch her like a pickle anymore.
Okay. Damn, run by date. Um, uh, Fat?
No,
No.
first is salt. Salt have no expiry.
Salt.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Good to know.
The second is honey. Honey have no expiry date.
Wow, that's good to know. Fantastic. Sorry, that's my computer talking to me.
And the
Yeah.
third one is ghee. Once you have ghee, older the ghee, more the medicinal value.
Really? It doesn't become sour, or what do you call it?
Absolutely no.
Not at all.
Absolutely no. Yeah.
But it
So
has
there
a
is no-
funny taste.
No, not really.
I remember buying ghee from the market, the farmer's market in Varna, and after like 3 or 4 months, because somebody pushes it to the back because they didn't like it of the cupboard, we find it after 6 months, and it's like maybe rancid a little bit. No.
Then it's not the real stuff. In traditional Ayurvedic practice, they bury the ghee for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years under the earth because there are traditional families doing it.
Wow. Okay.
Ghee have no expiry date. That's why even in the Egyptian kings, they kept honey as well there, and it has got no expiry date.
Yes, Tutankhamun's tomb, they found honey as well. And so you spent most of your formative years growing up with natural foods in India and all of that, right?
Because
would you like to meet another gentleman who grew up in India as well and can probably relate to all this?
Sure.
We're supposed to talk about relationships, but let's take a side trip onto food and milk, and this is important. Welcome Ashok Thakur to the room.
Hey, thank you very much, Dr. Gill. Thank you, Arut. We are
Yes. And Arut was talking to us about this milk. Please go on, sir. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No problem. So as long as it is a natural, traditional, non-hybrid cows, see, all the problems started when we introduced Jersey cow. Jersey cow are imported. They are not native to India. Right. So yes, it started to produce more milk, but ever since people started to drink that milk, they had more allergies, phlegm building up, to cancer, and everything now is attributed to A1 milk, which is not natural at all.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why we need to go back to our roots. And that's why I had to set up our own dairy together with me. And it's my friend who has set up. So he went and tested the blood of every cow to ensure it is A2 protein.
Wow.
And maybe after COVID, then we will import it into Singapore.
Please keep my father and mother in the loop. They would love to drink that.
Oh, yes. Your dad loves full fat milk. He already told me when I delivered Bandung 2 weeks earlier.
Yes. He drank it all.
Because it's pure roast. It's not extract. It is pure roast, ground pure. 1/2 kg of roast was grounded to make it.
Yes, it was a diabetic nightmare because it was in 1 kilo of sugar or something. It was sweet.
No. Sugar is brown sugar, natural sugar.
Is that right?
It's a special sugar from Indonesia, from Aranga pinata tree.
Oh my God!
We just dehydrate it to get the sweetness. Mine, I said, if I deliver something, it will be atas, nothing less.
Ashok, atas means high level, like right there. Yeah. For Arut, everything is atas.
No, only when it comes to matters of food. Because I live in one of the place called High Dangerous Building, not like Dr. Mel's Palace and Paradise. To me, that's all okay. But what I put into my body and put on my skin have to be number atas class.
Atas class. This not helpful when you're in an earthquake, but yeah. What?
First class is like first class kind of thing.
Yes. It means on top. It's a Indonesian Malay word that means high. Atas is up. Is it up?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can say first class or like that. Yeah. Good
Very
quality,
good.
top class.
Very good. I've been. I bought in Cold Storage. Singapore has A2 milk. Did you know that?
See, we have to understand when a milk comes from a big dairy farm, they may have 100, 200, 300 cows.
Right.
No baby goes and drink milk from 10, 20 different or 100 mothers.
But most men try. But yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah. So it has to be from the same breed, same type, everything the same.
Hmm.
So that is why in future, if we need to be healthy, we need small farmers and small dairies and nothing big.
So you
Agriculture
you
should
you
never be an
hire
industry.
so you hire only midgets, small farmers.
Yeah, I mean, I only get from small farmers. My next project is to grow vegetables in JB using native seeds to supply to my friends and clients. That's it.
For those of you listening from around the world, JB stands for Johor Bahru, which is the first city that you encounter when you drive over from Singapore to Malaysia.
Malaysia. Right.
Yeah, it's the southernmost tip city of Malaysia.
Yeah.
Just to describe to you, Malaysia is this long archipelago, peninsula. It's a peninsula,
Peninsular Malaysia, right?
and it stretches for about 1,000 miles, roughly. Is that
Roughly.
right?
Roughly,
And
yeah.
Singapore is only 15 miles wide by 20 miles or so. And so Malaysia is like this big phallic figure, and Singapore is the foreskin at the end of Malaysia, just to let you know. So we were 1965, we were cut off. And so we've been surviving very well since then. Election time, isn't that fun?
Right. Yeah.
But we'll avoid any comments on that matter. We're talking about health and relationships.
Right.
Ashok, I was asking Dr. Siva if he could share with us the fact that if you have a healthy body, then you also have an ability to have a healthy relationship. Is that right, Arut?
No, 100%. Yep.
And
Because
in what way can you tell us?
I look at my clients, caregivers, they suffer more than the actual person themselves. It's not easy to take care of a sick person. It's definitely not easy. And especially somebody with terminal illness or a stroke, handicap because of that. You have to do a lot from feeding to wiping. It's really tough.
It's very tough.
That's what I'm telling people, don't ever fall sick. Invest in health, not insure for sickness. Don't program yourself to insure for sickness. Rather, invest in health and stay healthy. No, my dad 80, I have grandpas who are 85, 87, 90, 93, 95. They all live healthy because they stay close to nature.
So it looks like you're the last resort for a lot of people. They go through doctors and everything else. Nothing works, and they come to you finally.
Yes. That is where the problem is. For some, we are able to regenerate, but for some, it is tough because when you issue a shutdown command to Windows, you really can't do anything. The machine will shut down no matter what. So,
but
likewise,
if a window closed in one place, another door open somewhere else, right?
Yeah, heaven gate open after that.
Doesn't say open. How about now? Those are extreme cases. How about relatively healthy people like Ashok, who doesn't suffer from any form of ED or anything like that? The rest of us, how do we stay healthy?
It's easy. Just follow nature's law. It means, like if you look at the birds, sunrise they go out, sunset they go back to the nest. They don't go clubbing, pubbing, entertainment, shopping, or whatnot.
It's going to be very tough to follow them up in the trees, though. They go where they are.
Likewise, you enter your home. Don't go anywhere.
Okay. All right.
And secondly, the biggest problem in Singapore I see, which is the cause of heart attack and stroke and even cancer, is sleeplessness. Most people, they tell me they sleep by 1, 2 a.m. No, it is not right. By 9:30, I mean, like you see, I'm talking to you on my bed. If you don't call me, I'll be lying down on my bed now.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 9:30, I'm on my bed.
Your name just popped up here. You were watching, and so I thought, okay, he's not busy having sex, so I could talk with him or something,
Normally between 9:30 to 10, I'm on my bed.
Okay.
Then I read books until I fall asleep, or listen to some lectures until I fall asleep. But the moment we glue to TV, what happens is it actually disrupts our brain.
Yeah.
And especially if you're seeing a program very violent or aggression, actually it even disturbs in our dreams. We can't even have a good sleep. So,
Yeah.
and if it starts accumulating over 10, 20, 30 years, of course, our body, we need melatonin, which is master antioxidant. It only
Mm-hmm.
secretes when we sleep at nighttime. But we keep ourselves awake with bright lights and watch the TV and phone, etc. Our pineal gland tells, hey, it is still daylight. Don't secrete melatonin. Then we
Oh,
can't
I
sleep.
see.
And then we go on a sleeping pill. The moment you go on a sleeping pill for 21 consecutive days, you're almost addicted.
Wow.
Afterward, you can't
Um,
sleep without it.
so what would you say about things like power naps, or in between, when you're during the day, you take
Excellent.
15 minutes?
Excellent.
Tell us about
I
when and
always
how.
tell people after lunch, just go and sleep for 15, 20 minutes. Don't exceed 20 minutes. That's the magic number.
Really?
Yeah.
This afternoon, I spent most of my time with my brother. He lives in the city, Killiney Road area, and I just spent the whole afternoon with him. It's just a beautiful time to be in the energy of my brother. I don't get an opportunity very much to do that. We don't have to say very much. We talk about important things and so on and so forth, but it's not always about that. Sometimes it's just with breathing and relaxing. And he saw me as I was doing my work, because I got a lot of work to do. And my eyes were just going like this as I was paying attention to something I needed to pay attention to, a study, a course. And he said, why don't you take a nap for 15 minutes? I said, I don't take afternoon naps. So I did. He forced me into his bedroom. I sat down there, 15 minutes. And I woke up. It was like, holy moly.
Exactly.
I was just like, wow, so refreshed.
It is mandatory. In fact, every day after lunch, I try to take a nap.
Yeah.
And it's very good, actually. It's excellent. But the moment you go in after 20 minutes, that's where the problem starts again. Then it will affect your digestion too. You'll have an acid stomach.
Oh, okay.
I always experience it. If I sleep too long in the afternoon, I get a headache. It's because of acidity. But 15 to 20 minutes, excellent. On those days until 9, 10, I can continue to work. I got more energy to work.
Okay.
Please do. In fact, that even works, reduce your load on your heart.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Sleep a lot.
When we age, it's best to sleep a lot.
Let's bring it to a. I hope it's appropriate to discuss this, because you might be with your significant other, and so she may be listening to some of this.
Teaching the Thailand group, another room.
Good. Okay, so we can talk freely then. The relationships, and men and women living together with different biological clocks, taking hormonal flows on this, that, and other. Ashok was talking about it last week about the. Were you, Ashok, about a woman's special time a month and all of that kind of thing, and so on and so forth? What would be your advice about a man like Ashok, whose philosophy is polyamory, but who is monogamous, serial monogamy is correct, right? Is that correct, Ashok? That you're a serial monogamist?
Monogamous in the moment.
Okay, sorry. I knew there was a word, I forgot a phrase. He's monogamous. He's one at a time, yes, but he's I don't know what is the term for that? I don't know.
There is no term. I'm coining my own terms and terminology, and I'm coining my own way to love, which people don't understand. And I had a discussion with my friend, and she said, so what do we have between us? I said, why we have to give it a name? The moment we give it a name, we put it into the boxes that certain things have to happen within us. So that's my. Well, what if I'm the one who's inventing a new way of loving? It's possible. Anything is possible, and it does not fix into our words of whatever how we can define it.
But you heard that, right? So what would be your advice, health-wise, for him to deal with
You see,
I
when it comes to health and when we talk about a person, it has to be private. We
No,
can't go and
everybody is listening to this, so that everybody will benefit from this, because Ashok is going to be, and I told him he should be, a guru. He's going to be a guru. He's going to help people, and people are calling him guru already. And I'm the worst guru for anybody to follow, so I'm an anti-guru, the opposite of a guru. What is the opposite of a guru? I don't know. So yes, Ashok is a brave man. That's why I said he's very, very brave, and he's creating a whole way of loving, which is different. We had a name for it, right? We had a name. What was the name for it?
I don't know. You made the names. I mean, you're the names. I just don't give name to anything.
He's creating this philosophy of Asoka.
Asoka consciousness.
Asoka consciousness. There you go. Where he encompasses the entire, it's the story in the Hindu text. I think, Ruth, you might know it, where there's a bull, an old bull and a young bull on the top of a hill. And the young bull looks down and sees all the cows. And the young bull says, let's run down and make love to as many as we can. The bull says, no, let's walk down slowly and make love to all of them. That way we have enough energy. And so Ashok is that old bull, young bull.
I thought he said, let's wait, more cows are going to come in after them, and let's get them all together.
There was a third bull. I forgot. That he was there. So because Ashok needs this, I remember, combine medicine or natural medicine with a form of spiritualism, right, Arut?
Because we are all spirit beings, so spirituality is number one.
Chakras and things like that. You were talking about chakras, I remember.
Yes, chakras, almost everybody in yoga tradition speaks about it.
Tell us about how the natural foods affect different chakras, especially those necessary for maintaining equilibrium in relationships.
Okay, this is actually a very big topic. So I really studied the life. Again, I go back to your dad. If you look at the dad's book, page number 102, he said those days when he was young, from the udder straight, milk goes from the udder straight into his mouth, right?
Yes.
Then number two, he ate what he grew in his own garden.
Yes, he still does.
Exactly. And if you notice those foods, they are very, very rich in all the nutrients because it is not actually modified or tweaked. After that, we wanted to grow foods in all seasons. Then we came out with some hybrid beets, hybrid stuff, and etc. To me, I always say hybrid foods are bastardized foods. They are not natural. If we eat the real stuff, what nature gave us after millions of years of evolution, we will get everything we want from the foods. But now we are not, because we are modified a lot. We eat processed food, packaged food with artificial coloring and flavoring, quick foods, ready-made foods. And ever since mortuary came into every house, that's the end. We got yesterday's food way before. Yeah, in the refrigerator. Refrigerator is the mortuary used to store all the cooked food, which is dead foods.
The dead meats. Okay, all right, got it.
Dead meat, dead vegetable, whatever you cook and put inside, it's already a dead food.
Okay, this is gonna make breakfast a lot of fun now. But yeah, thank you.
See, my dad, I said he's 80, but not 12 years younger to dad, but he's free of all drugs because for last 50 years, every meal was freshly prepared. He never ate anything reheated food. And
Right.
he always ate half stomach or a little bit more, always had empty stomach.
Okay.
And true enough, even at 80, he's fantastic.
Wow.
But when I look at most of my clients now, can you believe that today the case I attended 30 years, her breast cancer came at 30 years. One side was removed when she was 30, and now 35, the cancer has relapsed to the other side. I said, a young mother like you shouldn't have this devastating disease. It should come 85 or later.
Hmm.
But look, because why? One of the thing again, I asked, what time do you sleep? 2 a.m. You look.
Right. Right.
And if you look at our lifestyle, it is not designed to stop at all. Whereas when I look at my father's lifestyle as a farmer, it's
Yeah.
every day he work, every day he rest a lot. There is no such thing as KPI for next year, next month. No, he go by the day.
Right.
But now we accumulate so much of debt, we actually don't, we live beyond our means. So because of that, we have to constantly work. We can't even take a break. And now COVID like situation, it induces fear in a lot of people thinking what will happen. The moment fear comes, your immunity drops naturally.
Right. Right.
So that
That's
is why
why.
I'm coming out with my program called Root Cause of Diseases. It takes minimum 33 hours for me to explain where all things went wrong in the last 120 years.
Wow.
Because I am myself scared of now treating people because it's getting younger and younger. So it's really causing even my own mental, affecting my own mental health now. When I look at young people with such conditions,
Hmm.
and especially if there are mothers, I look at the young children. Oh, it's really devastating.
Wow.
How many Asian dads know how to bring up children?
Yeah. No.
Even I am one of them. I really don't know anything.
Hmm.
But when I
So.
look at a young mother suffering with disease and relapse cancer, and if they've gone through chemo, radiation earlier, it
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
much difficult to treat because the cancer comes back with a vengeance and it is mutated.
So what do we do?
Oh, the best thing is we have to restore everything. You know, when our
By.
Windows get corrupted, we restore
Yes.
from a clear copy.
Okay. So step one,
So step one, of course, eat clean.
clean.
The first thing, see, you look at India, the way I teach people is 5 steps or 6 steps now. Be
Okay.
alert, be
Okay.
awake, be aware, question everything and anything, apply common sense, validate results.
I do
So
that
now,
when I'm eating a lot because I'm usually awake when I'm eating. Also.
look at India. I mean, I was just looking at why cancer cases are spreading in India. But if you look at Delhi, they say it's number 1. Everyone knows Delhi air pollution is the worst in the world.
Yes.
It comes in top 10.
Don't go
So
to
if you
India.
have been inhaling all the polluted air, naturally your body is weaker.
Okay.
So the
Singapore,
first thing, Singapore also is bad actually.
New
So what
York.
it is, well, all cities are bad. That's all I can say.
Ashok lives in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Manhattan or
He's now in where are you in Manhattan? Whereabouts?
No, I actually live in Long Island, which is like it's
Oh
like
yes,
40 minutes from
Long
there.
Island.
But
It's a little
that's
splinter of
yeah,
yeah.
and that's where how it looks on the map. But I choose to do that because even though most of my friends are in Manhattan and they live over there, and they said, "Why you have a place in Long Island?" I choose to live there because the place I live, I counted like just around my apartment, not on the building. There are 7 trees, and there are birds which chirp every day morning, and the sunlight. I sleep with my window open. The sunlight when the sun rises, it falls on my
good.
face, and I don't even wake up. I stay like that for like 10 minutes in that sunlight. I
Oh,
get
great.
up.
That's the best feng shui place. If you have a birds chirping and sunlight coming in, that's the best place to stay.
Right.
Okay,
And,
so if you're listening to this broadcast right now and you'd like to have a really good rest, Ashok's home on Long Island is open to you. There are trees that chirp in the morning. You can come by and he will be able to give you spiritual advice while you sleep as well.
not the trees chirping, the birds are chirping.
The birds.
The birds are, but and I I eat healthy and I get this ghee, which is very organic. I pay like 4 times more money than a regular ghee, which we get it over here from Nanak Dairy in Canada. I don't have anything
Yes.
against them.
You know, when I went for lunch with Arut one time, some time ago, I remember you had this very many different dishes, and I was surprised you could eat so much. You're half my size, and were you eating a lot? And
No,
he
no,
never
I'm
gets
less than half your size, actually.
he never gets fat, and yet before he starts, he pours almost a bucket of ghee in his food. Holy crap! It's like, would you like some pepper with your ghee? It's like,
it's a good
and
fat.
he literally does that.
See, I eat 2 meals a day, and then I make sure I don't store anything. So what I eat, I spend it off before my next meal. That's why I can't put on weight at all. Even my wife tells me, can you add few kilos, because she can't reduce. So the other way is to push me up. I said, no, I also can't increase. You can't decrease. I have a problem. I can't increase.
Tell her I'm bringing you chocolates. That would be very, very cool. He is super skinny. Ashok, he's just super skinny. Now, you're talking about all these healthy foods, right, Arut? What kind of foods? With Ashok, we've been talking about opening the third eye, the pineal gland and all of that, seeing discarnate entities and having more clarity. Are there certain foods that relate to certain chakras?
Well, there are, but I can't remember them offhand.
Okay. Maybe another program next week we'll talk about specifically that.
Yeah, then I can talk about it. Yeah.
Great. Next Wednesday, Arut Siva will talk on this program. If you're free on Wednesday, if not Friday, only Wednesday and Friday.
Ask my darling to talk.
Why don't we have both of you talking?
Okay, all right.
That'll be very cool, and that way we can open it up to the Thai listeners as well. Because the person I'm working with right now just tuned in. His name is Charn Trakan Slip.
Okay, maybe my wife can pronounce it well.
Yeah, she can probably pronounce it well, and he'll be able to organize events for you as well.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. The last person didn't pay me a dime, just to let you know. Month 7, and still nothing. Can you imagine that? The audacity. And she says, because I look down on Thai people. I said, no, I don't. I mean, only the short ones, because I have no choice. They're down there. But, the tall ones I always look up to also at the same time. But so next week, Wednesday or Friday, which day is good for you?
Maybe Friday.
Friday is done. Then you and your wife will talk about different foods and how the different foods affect the different chakras in the body. The program starts at 9:30 p.m. here, our time, and it's 9:30 a.m. in New York. And just to let you know, and in Chicago it's 8:30 a.m. in Bulgaria, where people will listen. I get Maria and all of this to listen. It will be about 4:30 p.m. Cool?
All right, perfect. Cool.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Great. All right. So, thanks for inviting me.
And thank you for sharing with us. It is so good to learn about the different kinds of milk. A2 milk is good for you. A1 bad.
A1 bad, yes, that's right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Siva. It was very informative. If you would have known me, and Dr. Gill knows me, I've never shut up for that long to listen to somebody. And it was so informative that I kept quiet, and I was like, okay, this is good enough. I have to listen to that.
A small miracle took place today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ashok didn't speak much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hijack your time, Ashok.
No. It's wonderful. It's a pleasure. I mean, it's not that we talk on something sensible. This is uncommon sense anyway. We talk a lot of nothing. That's why Dr. Gill has to say, he said, I'm going to take all these shows and take the good information out of that and make a video. I said, well, that will be like 500 hours. converged into 2 hours, probably.
Try 10 minutes.
I'm being generous. I don't mean to insult. And I'm probably the biggest chunk in there. I'm like, okay, he's asking his programmers to write a program where he says, if you see a joke in there, automatically edit it. They're working on that.
Oh, great.
Arut,
Wonderful.
I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
With pleasure.
You're
Thank you.
joining us, and so look forward to Friday.
All right. Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good.
And that leaves us with Ashok in this program. That is fluff, he says. Okay, good. Thank you.
Fluff is good though. You think fluff is bad? I think it's the healthy conversations which brings to that one point where we are trying to get it to. So if we talk enough, we will have some nuggets in there. But if we don't talk at all, there are no nuggets.
Yes, so let's go for the chicken McNuggets. I mean, for now. Let's talk about it. I asked you a question last week and said next Wednesday I'm going to ask you again the same question. And the question is, if the Buddha was alive here now, would he choose to be in a relationship with someone? And why yes or why not? The floor is yours.
I mean, it depends on what you call it as a relationship. Like, is this a sexual relationship you are asking? Or I have to start differentiating these things now because people talk too generically about it. In fact,
what's in a full relationship?
What is it?
What's in a full relationship? Because everything is a relationship. I'll pick up a pen. I have a relationship with the pen. Yeah, no need to define it. I pick up water, and for a change, the water is in me instead of me being in the water. You know what I mean? That kind of relationship. So yes, that's a relationship. But I'm talking about a full relationship, which involves body, mind, spirit. Would an enlightened person want to be in a relationship, and why?
Absolutely, the enlightened person want to be in a relationship.
Why?
Because the enlightened person never block himself or herself from any of the possibilities. And once you say, I'm not going to be in a relationship, or I'm not going to be in a sexual relationship, or whatever, you block the possibility, because then you block yourself from everything good which was going to happen in that phase. So yes, definitely. I thought the question was a little different. Will Buddha would have, if he would have met a woman, will he like to marry her?
Oh, let's answer that as well.
And we had a lot of controversy. That's why I came, I changed my appointment to come in, because there was this woman. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. She was asking all those questions, and she said, we have to continue that. And I said, oh, I didn't want her to feel like that we ignored her questions. So if she's listening, she can come on the line. But I don't think Buddha would have married. And I actually don't even think, if you think about it, like we talk about Buddha, like this great person and who has got all this enlightenment and everything. But if you think about his wife, she probably say, no, nobody talked to his wife, and I didn't. She probably would say he was not a good husband. Who will leave somebody who is their companion and married to them in that young life when you are at the peak of your youth, and leave them and go away? Actually, in my opinion, he betrayed his wife. And I know it is good for the higher good. I understand that. But from that particular one person perspective, he wasn't that great of a husband. So I don't know more details about that. I don't think anybody knows, like people talk about it. So So I think it will be a good service if we wouldn't have married. But I guess that brought up some of the things in here. Maybe because he was married, that's why he wanted to quit the world and say, I have to do something better than this.
The opinions of the guests of this show are not necessarily the opinions of the producers of the show. We are open to all different opinions, and if you would like to contribute to this program in any way, please don't hesitate to join us. Whoops, I didn't have the cursor in the right place. I'm going to be posting a little link right here, and you'll see that link up in your YouTube or Facebook. If you're listening through Facebook, just click on it, and you can automatically, without downloading anything, be part of this discussion tonight. And the discussion with Ashok Thakur, who lives in New York, Long Island, New York. It doesn't count as New York, but that's what the Manhattanites would say. But when he's in with a lot of Jewish people, so we have to understand that as well, because that's where they are, and that's where the what's her name, the one who can see dead people. What's her name? The Manhattan psychic. Long Island psychic. I can't remember her name, but she lives there too. Yeah. She's not too far from where you are. Actually.
No, absolutely not. It's actually the same distance. Just she's south of me. But so I heard that disclaimer. That means you don't want to comment on that. I thought you will have.
No, I'm going to comment, but in that way, you have a lot of historians who will come in. And they will change history, because remember, Buddha, no one wrote anything until 300 years after he died. And it was all word of mouth. And so when one thing went to another, and we are asked to believe that these supernatural memory ability, word for word, was exactly what took place. And then there's, of course, the very human ability to anthropomorphize, to make into what looks like us, feels like us, any interpretation we get from any religious leader, if you will. But at the same time, that being said, we tend to deify people with special gifts and powers. We turn them into gods or something very close. And so, is it real? I don't know. Is it true? I don't know. Is it helpful? Well, that's the part I'm dealing with. That's why I'm talking to you. I only judge by what is useful and not useful. So I wanted to know, basically, if you are enlightened, what does it mean? If you become enlightened, let's say Guru Thakur becomes tomorrow, today, now, already, yesterday, enlightened. What is the driver that pushes him towards wanting to be in a relationship with a woman? I'm assuming not camel, not another man or so, but woman for now, because this is specific. We're not making a generalization. But what would make you want to? Why would you need a relationship?
Why will you need a relationship? So the thing is, this feminine part of the energy is the one which is very helpful for creation. And if you block that part, and I understand we can create that energy in us, but sometimes it's helpful when you have somebody in the real world, because they become your extra. That is, at least for me, they become my extra senses, and what they are sensing is I can feel and I can create more when I am with another female who is on her path to the spirituality. Not like if he doesn't just know anything, then it's a different thing. So we have got 5 senses, and I call like my 5 friends who are around me, like they are the senses too. So they are feeling, like if we go to a club, they are feeling different things. They are feeling the things which I cannot feel, and I'm feeling through them. And that makes me become a better person in so many different respects and teach other people how they can be better, because I cannot feel what these 5 females around are feeling. And the females are generally more sensitive to the feelings. Me as a man, no matter how much femininity I develop in me, I'm still lacking it. I'm like the handsome guy, 6'5" tall with a good 6-pack, are not hitting on me. They are hitting on them, and I sense it through them and see where the energy is flowing, and that helped me to make myself better and also help other people to do better. So they are the extra senses. That's
So
why.
and then help me to understand. An enlightened person in a club, enlightened club, obviously, is at the Buddha bar, I imagine, and
in the Buddha bar in New York City.
and drinking water, I imagine, is now observing the people, become the observer of the people, women that he's with, to see the energies and watch the flow, and literally be separated from what is happening. Just become an observer.
Yeah.
So so when you go home after recognizing the dynamic between the 6 foot tall, how did you describe him?
6.5 feet tall with 6-pack and full head of hair.
6-pack and a full head of hair. Yes, and so you work on your jealousies, make sure there are none, so that you rise above the situation and you become. So how does that help you? Doesn't that throw you in a troubled state?
No, of course not, because I can see the energy which they are playing in, and that gives me the tools to help them, to help the women and the men.
One of them is with you.
Yeah, but that's fine though. Like it's like I think we are limiting all these things too much, because like I don't only observe, I experience that too, because somebody is with me. So I experience what she's feeling or what she felt. And the experiential knowledge is actually, this is the one which is most important to you, because we all know about all the knowledge and all the gurus and are telling us, but until you experience that in real life, you experience that, you are never going to know what it actually feels like. You can talk about, like, I got my so-called hippie friends who can talk about all these things. Oh, I don't feel jealous, or I don't do this thing. The moment you throw them into that situation, they are crazier than even a regular person. So because they did not experience that, they heard it from other friends that this is not a good thing. They heard from all the psychologists, they heard from all the gurus and whoever tells them, and they forget all that. I'm the one who is experiencing it through their experience. And so I'm not only an observer, I am a part of this. So I'm not only an audience to that play, I'm playing a part in that play, and that gives me more understanding of a lot of human emotions, a lot of human feelings, what they are going through. And then that develops a lot of passion, and I sit down in the meditation and I think how to deal with the particular situation for somebody else.
So you're a guru in transition, so to speak. And you brought up a very important point without realizing it. And that point was that not everybody, Earth is a school, and not everybody is at the same grade level or university level. Some people are at grade 2 levels when it comes to relationships and understanding and watching the dynamics of energy and everything that goes forth between everybody else. And some people are at grade 12, and they're functioning at a completely different level. So for them, relationships are not as basic or necessary for them, because the higher you go into the master degree levels and finally to PhD level, where it's permanent head damage, you begin to understand that perhaps it's unnecessary to be involved in this cycle of life, because you no longer need to create more karma or dispense with more karma. You released it with your understanding of how everything works. And so you would no longer have needs that need to be assuaged.
Yeah.
So where are you on that ladder? You are.
I mean, I'm high enough, but we are always going to be in the transits. We are always going to be learning. I'm going to be learning till I die, until the last day. But like I crossed a lot of bridges already, and I'm at a point where I can look at life the way it is. I can look at every moment the way it is, and I understand that. And I don't say why this is happening or why this is not happening. I know this moment is inevitable. The Satguru said that. I actually learned from it. This moment is inevitable. It cannot be any other way. And once
Yes. Every moment that comes is inevitable. And conversely, if you look at tomorrow and you wake up tomorrow, hopefully, you will realize that today never happened before. It's a new day. You can bring in the familiar schedules and the dynamics of the days before, but you don't have to. You can start a new day in a totally new way. So, which brings up the question then: what if a grade 12 person like yourself meets a grade 2 person like some other person, woman, and you're trying to have a relationship? How do you deal with that? What do you do? What do you struggle with? Because you're going to be blamed for a lot of things.
I know that I will be blamed for a lot of things. I'm already blamed for a lot of things. Like people say, why you have to stop talking about these things. I get messages from people, and I said, no, you have to stop listening if you don't like what I'm talking about. I'm talking what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to mince the words in that one. So you can connect to another person who is at a different level, but you have to connect it at that level with them.
Yes.
And then once you connect it, and that is if you really want to connect with them, right? That is, we always have the choice. Person at 12 may not want to connect to person at 2. I mean, that's a choice. But if he want to, he can connect it at level 2, and then see if he can work them up a little bit at a time, and there is something. But it's a very big jump. So if you are already at 12, I don't even think you want to connect it with person at level 2. But yes,
unless you're a spiritual pedophile, that's a different story.
Well, the pedophile is not. We were not talking about the age over here, but
no. I mean spiritual at that level. Can you imagine? I mean, what the hell are you doing?
So I actually have those things in my real life where I have connected to a person at that level, because that is the level, because all her chakras were blocked except for sacral chakra. Like she was very sexual, and there was no other way you could connect to that. And that's, I'm fine with that. I'm saying you have to connect, you have to build a bridge, like these, I don't know, in Singapore, like you see these tall building, and on like 54th floor they have a bridge in the building, and then another one is 76th floor.
Sure.
Right? So if you have to go from one building to another one, you either have to go to the ground floor and go to that floor, or you can cross the bridge at a certain level and you can connect.
I can hear the conversation now. Dear sweetheart, while I'm inside you, let me teach you a few things about life.
That's not the question. That is the time you are halfway up the bridge, you are going to take the bridge and fall down and get hurt.
I see.
Once you are in the other building and you are done and you settled over there, that's when everything else, like you start doing, and you don't even have to start it. I realize in my life, with my own experiences, people learn more by seeing how you live life rather than all the teachings you can give it to them. I had a conversation actually last night with one of my friends, and she said, Ashok, I want to tell you something. I said, what? And she said, all those things you talk about, I have never learned anything from that. I said, but you are around me all the time. I mean, last night I had 4-hour conversation with her, 4-hour conversation. I said, why you are even talking to me if you never learned from that? And she said, I learn from when I'm with you, by watching you.
Well, there you go. You're a teacher.
So so it's like all, and you can go and if you really want to be in a relationship with this person who is at a different level, that is the way you connect it to that person. Because if I don't speak or understand German and you don't speak or understand German, like English, then we have to find out where we can connect. Maybe there is a common language we can talk about, like which wouldn't be that good, but we can go in there and connect with each other with that language, and then you can go from there. I've got friends who don't even speak a word of English, and I don't speak any Spanish, and they speak a lot of Spanish, and they're
Sure.
very good friends. We do whatever we want to do it, and we talk through the Google Translator, right? Because we
Right,
have
right.
to find a common medium. Now, are they ever like they keep on telling me you have to learn Spanish, and I'm like, what about you learning English? Maybe it is useful in some other countries than where you live, right? So we have to find a common medium.
You know, I wanted you to speak to us about how it worked for you, and what you are realizing in relationships. Like, say, for instance, if you ask me right now what I am doing, using your building analogy, if I am at that level where my building is independent, it doesn't need to be bridged, but the other person needs to bridge, then I have no business being in the other person's building, quote unquote, because it creates a lot of massive codependency. They become very, quote unquote, addicted to you, especially if they're not maintaining a spiritual practice while they are loving you or being loved, and so on and so forth. Just like the song, Ashoka, I can't live if living is without you, things like that. Or you are my everything, you're my sun, my moon, my hoo-ha. I have no words, but you know what I mean, right?
Oh, I mean,
How do you deal with that in
so,
your quote unquote spiritual practice and your spiritual relationships? I take it you want to bring them to a higher level.
I don't want to bring them to a higher level. If they want to get to a higher level and they have problem connecting at a higher level, and it has to
Uh-huh.
be actually their desire to get to a higher level, but because we are not connecting, because we are not speaking the same language, so you have to connect it at that level. And then because they have the desire, by being with you, they will see how they can live life. They will see how you react to different things in your life, and that is what is going to bring them up on their own.
Something that I found out on my own also in the last few years of my life, that no matter, you can become close to that point where you are waking up. I can't say enlightened, but waking up to a lot of truths around you, confusing as hell sometimes, but most of the time. And usually no one ever says, unless they're mentally off, no one ever says I'm enlightened, but other people can look at you and say, you're enlightened. That's a different story, because they see it, they feel it, and so on and so forth. But you don't need that to be able to know. All you know is that you're changing your levels of beliefs and all of that. So I want from you today maybe a step-by-step thing, that when somebody is on the road of spirituality, as you are, what's the best advice to deal with the relationships that you already have or are already coming, and so that you avoid suffering? Because Buddha and everybody says, the more attached you are, the more suffering you will feel. The more in love you are, the more suffering you will feel. So we talked about detachment, but non-attachment is different from detachment. Detachment is no emotions and da 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 da. Non-attachment means that I am. Non-attachment is I don't get involved. Detachment is I feel everything, full sensory. I lose myself in the person, but at the same time, I am not needing this person very much. And And so therefore all the monks, thousands and thousands and thousands, since age immemorial, are struggling with this one question: does sensory pleasure lead to suffering? Which is a big question for you,
Well,
Guru Thakur.
that's not true though, because suffering is a concept of mind, right? It's like if I if I have a cut on my finger and it's bleeding and there is pain, so there is a pain. Okay, that's the actual thing which is happening. But the suffering is in my mind. I keep on thinking about it. Oh my God, I'm going to get a septic. I'm going to get an infection. I wouldn't be able to write with this hand and all those things. So I don't. So when you and that's my opinion, obviously. I'm not Buddha, you are not Buddha either. So that may be a different opinion. But in my opinion, what it is when you can love people with the non-attachment, like you said, and then you develop a sense where your happiness does not depend on the other people. That is the point where
can that happen? Is that possible? Have you ever seen that happen?
I've experienced it so many times though. Like I experience it like every day.
What do you mean?
So
like you're in a relationship with someone, let's say now, right?
Yeah.
And they're blaming you for something because, in their minds, you're not living up to your part of the bargain and so on and so forth. And so what do? What do you say? You say it's their problem?
No, I say, well, that's how you think. Let's talk about it and see why you are thinking like that. What is one of the main thing which is my, you can call it mantra, is I said relationships are a mirror. So if you are seeing something in me, that means there is something in you which is triggering that emotion. So let's talk about and I give them the permission, and I said, we can let it go like this, and I can also say, I'm sorry what I'm saying, but that's not going to help you because it's going to come up again. So if you really want to resolve it, we can talk about it and see what is causing it. And eventually we come up. I mean, that point they were like, no, you are causing it. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry about that.
I see. And immediately as you say that, you freeze. Ashok, stay very still if you agree with everything I say.
Yeah.
And he does.
No. I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So I'm saying if you don't want this to happen, in your future with somebody else or with me, you have to figure out what is triggering in you. So once we are complete in ourselves and we don't need other person to complete us, then you can have those kind of relationship. And I understand that we live in this real world, which people call it real. I don't call it real. I call it reality number one, where we are right now. I mean, there are other realities, but if we live in this, we have to abide by the rules of this reality, which is like the gravity is real. So if you jump off from Empire State Building without a net, you probably are going to die. And so I also say, I don't need anything from anybody, right? But I cannot deny, like if my friend sent me the flower, I feel good about it. And I thought about that because that's a part of being human. So I say, and actually last night I had a discussion with my friends, and she said, so you don't feel anything? Though that's not true though. I say 80 to 90% of my happiness come from inside. Okay. Another 10% may be coming from outside because I feel good about getting those flowers. So there is a part of the happiness which came from outside, but that's a bonus for me, right? And if I lose that 10%, I still have 90%, and I can create that 10% more from my inside. So I'm not holding on to that somebody left my life and I cannot live without it. I still have 90% of the happiness in me.
So instead of looking for the opposite of something, like say for instance the opposite of you, which complements you. And if you're doing that, and if your love, quote unquote love, has an opposite, then that is not really love, is what you're saying. It's a strong, maybe ego need for a more complete and deeper sense of self. That's what I hear you saying. It's like a need for that the other person temporarily meets, but it's like the ego's substitute for salvation. Maybe for a short time, but it almost doesn't feel like salvation. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't actually understand. Can you ask me the question in a different way?
Okay. Say, for instance, I've been through life and a lot of relationships, right? And and some of the women I knew had voices like that as well, so they're quite entertaining. As I reflected on my last suffocated relationship, right, Ashok, I realized that it wasn't a conscious relationship at all. It was a addictive relationship that constantly oscillated between love and hate, and it always had an opposite, you know. And because of that, I also realized that I previously viewed relationships as a hindrance to authentic spiritual practice, and I began to agree with the Buddha that you had to be alone and be in the forest and to be able to bring your whole entire spirituality out. But this whole COVID season has taught me something new, because I began to understand that relationships can turn into one of our deepest spiritual practices. And it took many addictive relationships to finally differentiate them from enlightened love, which is quite different. Addictive relationships are almost driven by ego, our mind, as you were saying, all this time. And at times when we love our partner, and at other times, you know, we hate them because they're not doing what we expect them to do or want them to do, or they said they were going to do. And so the relationship fluctuates between this positivity and negativity manifests in both, you know, of us, you know, as partners, in a sort of like unspoken resentment, you know, the need to be right, possessiveness, jealousy, judgment, maybe criticism, blame, loss, fear, or fear of loss, manipulation of some kind, emotional, and anger at the end. So on the opposite side, we are in love with our partner, because when you're in love with your partner, then all of their quote unquote negatives and all of their quote unquote dark side then becomes part of the whole package. You see what I mean? So those kind of relationships before I realized all this were very unconscious, not aware, not mindful at all. They don't convey, or they didn't convey, you know, the true meaning of love. So rather than they stemming from our attachment to the other person, or the feelings the other person
English, please.
gives us. Yeah, English. Let me try English now. This is where my thoughts are flowing faster than my tongue, which in some situations can be quite useful. So instead of realizing that our individual completeness, you know, we choose to find that completeness through our partner. We are addicted, but not to the other person. We are addicted to the pain and the response that they bring out in us. Do you see what I mean? It's from a psychological perspective, because, hey, that's what I practice. So I recognize that enlightened relationships are the complete opposite of addictive relationships. The love comes from someone who feels at peace with themselves, like you, for instance, you know, and with all your experiences that you went through in South America and everything else, and that person isn't trying to find their other half in the another person, you know, here's my better half, you know, so on and so forth. And so when problems or issues start to arise in a conscious relationship, partners don't lose themselves in this process. So I realize that, and this is what you are saying.
Yes, absolutely. Because love is love is not let me put it this way. Like, so the love is like the love which is going to last long time, and I don't say forever for anything, because who knows, shit is going to happen, right?
Me love
But
you. Me
yeah,
love you long time.
yeah. But where your main idea is to help your partner grow spiritually, and in the process you are going through the journey, and the journey becomes beautiful by itself when that is what you are thinking about, like how I can support, like you become like this is the favorite quote by Sadhguru too. He say, you are the mother of all. Okay, so if you are the mother, how you would like to support that child, even though you have got a different relationship. But don't take mother as a relationship, but mother as a feeling, right? So when you love your partner like you are the mother to that partner, that is when the true love comes in, where you are not always thinking about, whenever some situation comes in, you are thinking about how we can grow each other, not how we can grow that person. Because if you think how you can grow that person,
Can I
yeah,
be the father instead? Because
yeah,
the last I checked, I'm not a mother.
yeah. Well, that's a physical thing, but the fathers are mostly absent, like when we were talking about last week,
Oh,
on many
okay.
people's lives. So you have
All
to stay
right.
with it. But like it's like you are not trying to say that I'm going to spiritually fix you, because then you are trying to fix something. But you
Mm-hmm.
are trying to live in this, where it is mutually good for both of you to spiritually grow, and those are the relationships which are going to last longest time. And I get it in my life, like a lot. Like, once you stop thinking that I need somebody to give me love and fulfill, then you
Mm.
have love comes to you. And I don't know how it works. It's a big scheme, and I don't want of the universe, I don't want to know. But then love comes to you, that true love which you were looking for, it's come to you in such a beautiful way.
See, I'm not looking for love.
No, the moment I said that, I got it. Okay.
Yeah. See, because as soon as you're
Yeah,
looking for it,
right. No,
you have a need. You are
no,
now in an
right.
addiction phase, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is difficult to explain, but the love comes in your life in such a beautiful way, because the love, and I think about lot of things, like when people say, like, we were in the past life, we were connected. Actually, let me ask you, do you believe in past life?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's
So
not a belief. I can even tell you how it's done. I've been there. I checked. I know what's about to happen, and or the next life, and da. And I can see that for other people as well. I can see their past lives, and I can see who they're going to be next, because it's all chosen. And in this COVID season, I spent a lot of time. I told you this. I'm traveling between dimensional states. And I spend a lot of time not in this state, so I can't get like real work done. It becomes crazy, but I'm doing it because I need to get rooted, and so things need to flow. But I spend a lot of time in a place I cannot even begin to mention, where we're all communicating, but not in language. We're communicating in symbols. And so if we take this thing I learned, Ashok, about the difference between my addictive pattern for love turning into an enlightened pattern for love, and the pattern shift depending on how aware or unaware we choose to be in any situation or in any relationship. And I found that there are several things you need, maybe about 5 things. You ready to hear what they are? And tell me if you think they're correct. Because I found that if I were present in the moment with the person, you know, these fights that you have, right? They tend to intensify in relationships when you're not living in the present moment. Do you agree?
100%.
So when we're not in the present moment, then thoughts start to take over and they move us and towards the negative of any outcome. So whenever I feel the need to attack partner or loved one or whoever, it could be my father, mother, brother, sister, or to fight or to criticize somebody else, I focus on my breath. Literally, I go back inside myself for a few
English.
For a few. Let me continue in Jamaican. Jeez, oh my God. I focus on my breath for a few minutes to ground myself back in the present moment. So I found that being in the present moment was very necessary. The other thing I found was that I needed to accept my partner as who she is. Because when we entered into a relationship with, or when we enter into a relationship with someone, we indirectly are telling them, I accept you for who you are, for what you are, a growing, dynamic human being. And I'm wanting to, you see, when people want to change the other person, that comes from ego. And that's what you fight against. You don't want to change them. You want to leave them where they are. And if your ego tells you to change them, then you're never satisfied. And I learned the hard way that people don't change. Accepting them, as they are is probably the peaceful step towards personal, emotional happiness and maybe peace in that relationship as well. And then I realized this other thing, that love is a state of being, really. It's not a thing you do, not a series of circumstances, not words. It's a state of being. Love is never outside. It's not dependent on any external object, things I give you my heart, that kind of thing. It's not a thought or a feeling. It is two people being present with each other. Don't you agree?
I absolutely agree.
And if it's strong enough, it will prevail. And love doesn't depend on somebody else's, telling you they love you. Love doesn't depend on what they say and do for you, and it doesn't begin with other people as well. True love starts with us from the inside out. That's the direction of love. True love starts with us and then shines through to other people. And if they don't want to love you, they go to somebody else. Well, okay, bless them. There is obviously going to be somebody who will want who you are as a human being, as a person. And so you talked about communication just now, right? Ashok?
Yes.
So true communication is communion, really. Because for successful communication to take place, the mind must be at its lowest energy level. No mind, just literally all heart, all energy coming from somo, just the body, the visceral part of me. I learned also from my past relationships that without this communication, there is no actual relationship, only the illusion of one, which is what Buddha was referring to. So when we communicate, we should put aside all mind games, all emotional manipulation tricks. We must remember that we're communicating to commune, not to win. And this is what Ashok is saying. This is what the love guru, Ashok Guru Thakur, is saying, isn't he?
So yes, because I had a lot of people who come to me, and I tell you, most of them have got relationship issues, and wide majority of them. And I tell them to how to drop from your mind to the heart and talk from there. And then they have all these complicated. I said, ask your heart, what does your heart say? And they are like, oh, I got this answer from my heart. I said, no, because the heart cannot give you that long answer. Ask a specific question, and the answer will be yes or no, because if it is complicated, you already involve your mind into that. So I teach them how to drop from your, I specifically said, you are in your mind, go back to your heart and ask the question, because this is where the actual communication happens.
The communion with them, yeah.
Right.
Soul to soul.
Yeah. Soul to soul. I mean, again, we are playing with the words, but that's what happens. But the point I was coming to with the past life is and think about it this way, that when we say past life, like now there is a time involved, and what about, I even say, whatever your past life is, that is another reality, because we want to fix things into the time linear. That's why we say past. But whatever is in the past may be already happening at this point. Somewhere you are another you, and the only thing which can transcend these realities is love. Love does not know time and space. It can transcend time and space. So if you and I were in that reality, which is the past life, and we loved each other, we passed on and we came into this reality, because love can transcend, and that's why we are together, and we are doing this show or whatever, or we are in a relationship. So that love is the only thing which can transcend that. And
don't forget the camel that's next to us too.
But like I wrote about it in my book like 4 years ago, where all these people from my past life started coming into my life. And when you are in a relationship, you can look at it in a certain way that your relationship will go on for a long time. Because if I think, I mean, even you are my friend, but if I think like somebody who's doing bad things to me, and I had lot of things going on when I was going through the separation and divorce. But once I looked at it, I said, what if my ex was my friend in that reality? And she said, oh, I see Ashok in this other reality, and he's not doing anything with his life. He's just going to work and making money and coming back, going to sleep. I have to awaken him. So I'm going to come into this reality and mess him up so bad that he's forced to come up with a new life. The moment you think like that, you stop hating that person. You stop being judgmental about that person. And that becomes your friend.
I have been in a state which I think within a few months will make me non-functional in this world. Past, present, future are all the same to me. And the future has already happened. I get not only glimpses of it, I'm living it. And it's very obvious. I actually feel the sorrow for the people who are already going to be, quote unquote, in this time frame, going to be there. I also look in the past, and I go beyond this lifetime. So it's hard to communicate that to anyone in any language that would make any sense. I would be sent to the hospital not too far from here, actually. And so I keep my mouth very much shut, because I see these things. I don't want to see them now, because it doesn't allow me to become normal and to be able to accept everything. So what I do is literally take a look at this body called Mel Gill, and this mind, and whatever it is I'm doing, the fun I'm having, living, good, bad, all of it is good. All of it is fun. All of it is like, wow, I'm participating in this thing. And it's after a while, it's going to get boring as hell, because it just, I'm here to change, like you are, here to help as many people as possible. But I'm not telling you that this is correct or this is not correct, because that's up to you. You decide. If you're not happy, change it. You can do something, and then if you don't know how to change it, I'll teach you. So relationship-wise, and I'm summarizing everything you're saying, by the way, and putting in words that people can actually use to make things happen in their life. So this is what I do best. This is my joy. So you can learn as much as you like, a particular philosophy and all that, but next week that will change. A situation will come up, and something else will require new knowledge that you never had. I mean, so you keep that knowledge in you for what? And I'm discovering that all the 10,000 books I surrounded myself with, some of those things they don't work anymore. They're from 30 years ago, 20 years ago. But the skills are what I'm learning. So the skills remain. So I learn the skills. And so the skills are what is important for us to do. So in a relationship, what you and I, are seeking to teach people on our various devices is the skills, not the knowledge, because the knowledge is not important. What you and I believe is going to change in 5 years. What you and I believe is going to change in 1 year. It's not going to be the same. Like even next month, depending on the woman, the relationship that you're in. I'm leaving that open because, you know, camels have rights too. So, you're talking about becoming enlightened, and if people are wanting to stay enlightened, right, then they have to create this kind of space between them, not a physical space. It's not a physical space. I understand it actually goes a lot deeper than that. Finding space in love comes from a mental and emotional place where we allow love, feelings of love to enter naturally and exit naturally. You know, for real transformation to happen, which is what you do, by the way, you're about to go to Sedona to create transformational workshops, right?
Absolutely.
And so for them to take place in a relationship at a micro level, you know, between two people alone, sequentially, one at a time, and for love to flourish in those relationships, partners need to create and honor this emotional, physical space that allows it to grow. And so my mind has been so blown away by all of this. I'm just so, Ashok, I am so glad for the good, and I'm so glad for the bad in any encounter with any being, not just human or otherwise. Last night I had encounters that were interesting, to say the least. I was being given symbolic instructions that involves tigers and dragons and such like, and then I understood them today. So I am always very grateful for all the bad things in my life, and there's been a lot, and bad people, quote unquote bad people. So rather than the good all the time, because it's only through all of these dealings with all these people that I, Mel Gill, learns to be Mel Gill. And I grow from all of this. I'm not bitter, like, oh, they'll put it, well, I want to, like those old muttering people you see in all the subways, you know, I hate the world, you know, I need to go shopping, or whatever. I don't know what they do, but you don't mull over what people have done. So when bad things happen in a relationship, Ashok, we have to kind of take them as a chance to improve our spiritual practice with our partner, because these negative experiences can be a blessing in disguise. Don't you agree? Maybe in a romantic relationship more than anything else. So if we benefit from their presence, we can transform our future, not just us, but together. But you are saying here something important I want to give people. I've given them maybe 6 or 7 points already so far, and all coming from you. I don't know if you realize that. I'm just
I don't realize that's what.
I'm just taking what you're saying and repackaging it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what I want you to do, because otherwise they will also put me in a mental asylum. Because if I tell people all the things I know and I realize, they will say I've gone crazy. That's why we tell people with the filter whatever they can understand. And you are that right person to do that.
Hey, my cousin from Canada is listening to us. Arvinder is a long name, but we call her Rani, which means queen, by the way. She likes to be treated like a queen. And so welcome to the studio. Ashok, if you saw how beautiful this woman is, you go crazy and probably give up everything and just go to Canada. She's in, actually, which part is she? She's not in, she's in Richmond, if I remember correctly, near where all the ferries were. Ashok, yeah. So Rani, Ashok has said a lot of things, and I'm just putting it in simple terms. What to summarize what he's saying is that, and what I'm saying as well, is the relationship will not save you. One reason that most of our relationships fail, all of us, is because we were looking to find ourselves in someone else. So when Ashok talked about finding salvation, or I talk about finding salvation, to appear in the form of a lover, what we are all not realizing is that we are already complete. We're not incomplete, and someone has to come and complete us, like the Jerry Maguire movie, right, Ashok?
Yep.
Where he says, "You complete me." And what were you? What were you before? A blithering, half-complete idiot that needed to be saved by somebody? I mean, were you leaking? What's wrong with you, right? So Ashok is saying, and I'm saying, that we are already saved. So the only thing we can do is share our completeness with another complete human being. If we are unicorns, the other person, we share our unicorns with them. And so we don't, the one thing we don't want to do, Ashok, tell me if this is correct, that what you believe as well, because I hear it from you. You don't want to blame and accuse the other person of being unconscious, which is the opposite of mindful in a relationship, right?
Right. I mean, how can you do that? Because then you are judging the person, and it is clouded by your own filter.
Well, it comes when there's pain. So when we're faced with pain in relationships, we can become unconscious to our situation, and we throw accusations, it's their fault, you know. And by doing that, we tend to intensify this unconsciousness that we have, because we're kind of invested in it emotionally. So that unconsciousness is already present in us, and it can bring us and can bring that out in our partner just by resonance effect. We can resonate good or resonate bad with our partner, which is what Ashok is saying. And I've learned personally that when one partner is caught up in pain or negativity, it's important for the other person to bring them back to the surface. Is that correct? Surface? Not bring them all the way back, but to the surface where they can breathe and see the air, and that they're not alone. So what we're saying, if you want to have a happy relationship, and Ashok, correct me if I'm wrong, start with yourself. And I personally have always thought that real transformation began outside of us at some point. Some guru is going to teach us this and that, but you need to throw away all the gurus and learn to become your own guru, and realize, like me, that I was wrong. You know, real transformation begins within. So when we are present, we are conscious, and we're evolving in a relationship, we can directly mirror all of these things to our partner, and the relationship now becomes a place where we are now blooming, flourishing, thriving. Agreed?
Absolutely. It's 100%, because then we are not looking, like you said, for somebody else to fill in a void in us. We are already full. Okay. And I was always, I think I was on your show like 3 months ago or something. And I think it was something about the partnership. And you asked me, you know, like, are you ready for a partner? And I said, if somebody comes in who is complete in them, and I'm complete in me, and want to walk with me on the path that we support each other in each other's quest, then I'm fine with that. But if somebody comes in, and I said, I stopped rescuing people and getting into the relationship, because I'm not going to take somebody, because like I had a tendency to from way back to like see somebody and say, oh, they are in a bad shape, and you know, like I can help them and get into a relationship, which doesn't go anywhere, because like we are not here to be in a relationship with a person. We could be here as a teacher for a person who need that, but we cannot be there in a relationship with the person who has got that much void. So what you are saying is absolutely correct. Like if we are fulfilled inside, and the another person comes in and they are fulfilled inside, and then you can walk on this journey of the happiness, because whatever happens on that journey, you will look at each other and you will smile. Yeah, we got that right every time. Before even you speak something wrong, before that, you know you got it, and you wouldn't speak. And that kind of a thing is, I'm telling from the experience. It's not some hypothetical thing, and it becomes so harmonious that this beautiful energy is all around you.
Do you have someone like that now?
Yes, I absolutely do.
You do? That's great. God bless you.
And that's the beauty of this thing. And
who's helping who in that relationship?
Nobody is helping nobody. We are just walking on a path, like over.
Okay, maybe that's a wrong question to ask you, but what are you learning from this soul?
I'm learning from this soul that there is a form of love which I've never read it in a book. I've never experienced it. That is possible, and I'm showing it to the people. I don't want to say teaching because I can't teach it. I'm showing it to the people that possibility exists so that they can do the same thing if they want to. It has to be, but firstly, they have to fix yourself, like inside him. You have to get out from that need, and then that person who, like Rumi said, what you are looking for is looking for you too. So you will
Well, he
find
was he was he was talking about debt collectors.
it. Okay, yeah, but
No,
it's
I say it tongue in cheek, but I mean it in a karmic sense. But that's a whole different thing altogether.
yeah. Well, that's karmic thing is a whole new discussion. But once you get to that point, and there is so much experiential in these things which I never realized. I have been
Mhm.
telling people, but it has been affirmed to me that what I have been telling people or teaching people or showing people is actually so true. And I was looking for all these answers, and that's what I discussed it. Like I asked, like when all these thousands of spirits, like the shaman said, they are all around you, and they say, "We are very happy that you are here, and you can ask us anything." And I asked them, I said, "Is there a deeper form of love
Mhm.
than what I know?" And they said, "No, you know it all, and go and practice it, experience it." Because
When I asked that question a few years ago of a higher being, I said, "Is there a deeper form of love than this? What I feel, this ecstasy, this um, radiance?" Because I told you I was in meditation for hours, and the simple reply that blew me away. Mm, why do you need to know?
that's true.
Yeah, it's like, why
That's
do you
true.
need to know? For what purpose?
And yeah,
Arvinder, Rani, let's call her Rani. Unless you want to be called Arvinder, tell me what you want to be called, Rani or Arvinder. You decide. She says that masturbation is important. Do you read the little thing there? No, sorry. Self-love is important. I read it wrong. I'm sorry. What she means by that, I don't know.
no,
Physical, mental, emotional.
that's which converts.
What?
I don't know. Are you asking her the
I'm
question?
asking her, so I'm waiting for her response. But how about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of people that I know are headed towards this. Men, I'm talking about for now, because the women, there are complications when I try to teach women about how to love themselves and to become more filled with who they are by themselves and all of that. Because the sometimes the energy you exude when you are in healing mode can be very attractive to a lot of people, and they become addicted to that. It's not necessary to do that, because at some point you're going to die. At some point, like every beautiful flower, you will be plucked and you will disappear, and so on and so forth. People don't realize that. They go into a relationship thinking, I want love, before I die, but they don't understand that phrase that they use at the end of the sentence, before I die. Well, you're going to die. And the minute that the happiest people in the world that I've seen, that it's a phrase that opens all spiritual doors. When you realize you are going to die, you will never get out of this life alive. You are going to die. One way or another, sooner or later, you are going to die. And Rani would like to know, or maybe she's making a statement that self-love is important. But are you in self-love because you have no choice? There's no one to love, so I'm just needing my self-love. Or are you in self-love because there's a lot of pain and so therefore self-love is safe and better? Or do you exude and grow with self-love without the what's it called? Sour fruit syndrome, where the fruit was sour anyway. Who needs it? I think it's an Aesop fable from many years ago. Or are you have opportunity to love, but for some reason you don't want to be in that relationship because you can see all the issues and all the problems, and maybe you can help somebody in a different way. Ashok had about an hour ago, he talked about a building and two buildings and connected by bridges at the lower level and at the upper level. And if you can spend less time crossing over at the lower level and more time at the upper level, it would help both buildings. Okay, I'm still continuing the metaphor.
Yes, I mean,
Yes,
I just thought about it while I was talking to you.
Sure. And we never even talked about the foundation or anything of that.
Right.
Ashok, I have good news and bad news for you. You're always a joy to talk to about all these things, about anything. I've seen you calm the fuck down so quickly on anything. You are a guru. You're teaching a lot of people, and I really appreciate the fact that you do that selflessly and that you have a lot of fun in the process. You're not so serious about that, which is also good.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is which I tell everybody, I said, you can totally be in love, whatever this is. I'm not saying fall in love. In love,
If you're clumsy, you'll fall. Yeah.
Yeah. If you are very mindful for everything which you are doing, like if I'm, that is the thing I heard from so many of the women, especially because men doesn't men doesn't want to come in and learn this, even though they should. It's more important for them. But like they are like, you are so much present when you're talking. Like, how come my partner never does that, right? How come? Because that brings up all those things, and I understand what you say. Sometimes it's you bring up, like you were talking about, sometimes you are teaching people and they're like, you are that great, and you tend to fall in love with you and all those things, and that's all.
It's
psychology.
It's called transference.
Transfers?
In psychology, it's called transference. Transference. Yeah.
And also you have to understand that if there is any teacher or guru or something which you get that dependent on, that guru or teacher did not do a good job, because you are not supposed to get it from another person. The guru or the teacher has to show you how you can create it inside you and show you a map of how you can navigate inside you and create it inside you. So you shouldn't be dependent on that, because all the people, all the human, that's the good thing or bad thing about a living guru is they are humans too. And you have to sometimes separate the guru from the man and understand it that way.
Same thing, guru and man. But a guru's job, if it comes with a job description, is to teach the disciple skills. That's it. The knowledge that is coming is knowledge about what is, and you can accept it or not accept it. Makes no difference to the guru or the teacher. I'm not a guru. I'm a teacher. Basically, that's what I am. And I teach you things. Sometimes I tell you stories to wake you up. Most times I tell you jokes because I don't want you to be too serious about stuff. But if the minute you make me your guru, I will do something, say something to make that not true, or to make you walk away, because I don't believe anybody should be a guru for anybody else. I think you should fire all your gurus and look inside and search yourself. You are the best advice you can ever get from anyone. People are just examples, and they should be just examples. What I teach is to open your mind. You can take it or leave it. It's up to you. It's not important to me whether you like me or not. It's not important. I'm just running a show because it's my it's something I think I should do because I'm supposed to run it 5 days a week, but I'm not doing that because there's too many other things I'm working on which are occupying too much of my time. But I wish I could do this every day. So I will find a way to do it so that I can extract myself from the world and still be able to pay bills and do all of that. So what this guru is trying to teach people to do is to be a practical monk or practical, be a practical guru. And if I'm not mistaken, this is basically what one or two of the religions around the world teaches you. Become a warrior, but a spiritual warrior. Become a teacher, but a practical teacher. So that all the things you're talking about is not about, oh, this person did something at the 15th dimension. And so at that 15th dimension, the elevators don't work so well. So they have to take buckets and go. It's like, what the hell? How useful is that going to be in the way you live your life here? You know what I mean? And how do you know anyway that that's true or not true? There's no way to check or to find out. So here, if we combine psychology, which is the way you are responding to the world around you, and to understand that certain ideas affect certain parts of your mindset, and that mindset is responsible for you achieving this, getting that, or releasing everything if you want, and be perfectly happy. So ultimately, you and I are teachers of happiness, really.
Skill sets for happiness. But
That's it.
And that is very important, because that way they are not attached to you, because like how many people you can have attached to you, because eventually they will become parasite and suck your energy. Like what's the point in that?
Sucking can be good.
Yeah, it can be, but there is a stop to that at some point. But
yes,
if we can, and that's the concept though, because that's how all these cults starts and everything. Like I was like, when people started calling me guru, I said, don't call me guru, but people are going to call what they are going to call you, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm not fighting any possibilities of anything, and that's so beautiful that both of us can do the same thing and similar things, and be in this reality where you bring everything to the sanity. Because otherwise, like one of my friends, like she messaged me and she said, you guys are a great combination, because Ashok, I would be lost with you in some spiritual way and wouldn't be able to come back and even work in my office, because now I say everything is a bliss. I'm in so much bliss. I'm so much in love with myself. I wouldn't even pick up and make my sales call. And she said, but Dr. Gill is trying to make sure I do make those phone calls, and then I do those. But then the end of the day, she's like, I'm very exhausted. This person bothered me, all this. And I say, you have the choice at that point. When you come back, when you are working, you stay in Dr. Gill reality. When you come back and you're not working anymore, don't stay in his reality anymore, because that's going to mess you up if you are 24 hours that way. Then move into my reality. But you have to know how to move in there, which is not an easy task. I don't take it easily, but you create a balance somehow.
What I love about being with my brother, he's an amazing human being. Every time I talk about him, I begin to cry, because I've never met a person who I would choose as a friend as him. He's honorable. He sticks with his word. He helps people. Doesn't matter who you are. He helps you no matter what. And more times than not, I've seen people take advantage of him, especially family members. It's terrible. And I know the pain he's going through. And he just gives, and he still continues to give. Not just money, but his time, his effort, his consciousness. I mean, the security guards at the apartment where he's in, He's thinking about their lunch as he's with me talking about it and driving here and there, and what they like, what they don't like, and the ones he doesn't like, he buys them food anyway, but not with that same kind of thought. He gives himself up to serving, and yet he's a really accomplished, super accomplished human being who has done so much for the planet. You have no idea the capability of this man. I want to make not just a book about him, a movie if I can, because he's done so much, and yet so humble, and with the sense of service, not servitude, but service, because he can tell you go fuck yourself very easily as well, because if you are that idiot, that pretentious little so on and so forth. And I think that that's an amazing thing, that if we approach our relationships in exactly the same way, honest, clear, open, with compassion, with all of those 7 or 8 things that I talked about earlier, then all of those come together to make the most perfect relating possible. Now, that relationship, like everything else, if you want to be enlightened, and you have to realize it and embrace it and understand it and love it, every relationship is a preparation for the next. Every relationship. And so you have to understand that whatever you do, that human being, man, woman, camel, you have to be in the present moment and absorb them for all they are, and everything they give you, good and bad. Not just saying, thank you God for what we're about to partake, but everything, because it teaches you something, and you can't depend on it being there tomorrow. It might be gone, disappeared. So you never know. And so this is what we're trying to do.
And that's important. You can learn it in from anyone. I mean,
yes.
You don't even have to be.
Yes, even when you're impotent. You're right. Even when you're impotent. Is that what you said? Impotent? No. That's important. Important.
I know you knew that. I know it. But it becomes such a beautiful life, and what a blessed life we both have to be in.
Ashok, good news and bad news. We're coming on to midnight right now. The show is extended beyond the normal, and we will continue this conversation. We're setting up a new format for Uncommon Sense, and you're very welcome to be part of that as well. It's going to be called FAST, fast, and what it means is Father and Son Theater, fast. That's what it stands for, and it's going to be the theater of a younger soul, like literally millennium type individuals, millennial type individuals, and us who are quote unquote wiser, and so on and so forth, and see the conflict that will arise, unrehearsed, unscripted, and we pick topics and we stay on topic for that particular day. How do you like that?
I love that. That's so beautiful, and
it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, though. When I want to talk to you, I just call you and not send you the text. That's not what millennials does, right? They're like, you could have sent me text for that, and I'm like, okay, from now onwards, every birthday, you are not going to get a call from me. You're just going to get a text, and they are like not okay with that. I'm like, okay, so this is going to be an interesting dynamic. I mean, not one thing is bad or good. It's just two different opinions, and we have to learn a lot from them. We think we know. I mean, I actually move around in that demographics too. So I think, but there may be things which are going to come in, and that will be beautiful.
You date those demographics.
Yeah, I know.
Basically,
right. But then also, there are a lot of things which comes up from time to time.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, right.
A lot of things come up. Yeah.
Right. And my call is every time, like we don't have to set up an appointment, just pick up a phone and call me. But that's not how this millennial world works. They're like, you have to send me the text, you could have done me and done this. And I'm like, okay, fine, if that's how it works, I'm adaptable. But then once you start doing that, they lack this part. The reason they are in our life and they came to our life is they have to learn a lot of things from us, and they are yearning to learn
Yeah.
all that. So that's
But I've never heard that about a millennial person needing you to call first and all that. But I have heard when they have multiple relationships and need to get rid of one to be able to talk to you clearly, and then so that would give them ample time to do that. Yes.
there you go. So are you starting on this Friday?
Friday, yes. Day
Oh,
after tomorrow.
you're starting that on Friday. Okay, good. Absolutely, look forward to it.
It'll be fun.
Let's get some fun.
Ashok, thank you for being with us tonight. I want to thank you, everyone. Please understand that Ashok is was a teacher for the longest time, and like all teachers, including yours truly, we all growing all the time. Every new experience, every new relationship, every new day teaches us something new. Our perspectives will change. If we teach you one thing, it's to give you and to set you up with a mindset or a useful set of tools. That's all we do. We're not telling you this is the absolute knowledge, because there is no absolute truth. There is a truth from one person, and if there are 7 billion people, there are 7 billion truths on the planet. So we're not saying we have the answers. We're saying we have part of the answer, but not the whole. Thank you, Ashok. Good night. And so that brings us to the end. And we're talking about opening doors and closing doors. And the stuff of our lives don't really change when we open the inner doors. It is we who change in relation to the stuff in our lives. It's we who adapt, we who become bigger, better, more informed, less urgent, less suffering, less in pain. So whatever our gifts or our wounds or life situations are, whether we have been married several times or have never been in love, whether we have plenty of money or are sorely in need of more, the core issues in our lives will not go away. There exists for each life on earth a set of inner doors that no one can go through for us. We can change jobs or lovers. We can travel around the world. We can become a doctor or a lawyer or an expert mountain climber, or nobly put our life on hold to care for an ailing mother or father. And when we are done, though the worthy distraction could take years, the last threshold we didn't cross within us will be there waiting for us. There is no substitute for genuine risk in a relationship. There is no substitute for genuine raw pain. It is only through the suffering, it's only through the pain that you begin to realize what wisdom is. Stranger still is how the very core issues we avoid tend to return, sometimes with different faces, but still we are brought full circle to them again and again and again. Regardless of how we may try to skip over or sidestep what we need to face, we humbly discover that no other threshold is possible until we use our courage to open the door before us. Perhaps the oldest working truth of self-discovery is that the only way out is through. That we are returned repeatedly to the same circumstances is not always a sign of avoidance, but can mean that our work around a certain issue is not done. And so that's why we have to repeat them. Our work around a certain relationship habit that we have that creates the same results is not learned. And so we have to repeat those kind of relationships until we learn them. In my own life, it's not by chance that struggling to adulthood with so many domineering and critical people around me, I have been thrust again and again into situations with dominant men and women struggling painfully for their approval and fearing their rejection. So for years, I tried to manage the circumstances better, which was like sanding and varnishing the floors without ever opening it. Sometimes the door. I was destined to repeat, the same pain of rejection, no matter how skillfully I handled it, until I opened the door of my own self-worth and began to realize who Mel Gill was. Even my calling to be a writer, a poet, psychologist, a person who studies the mind. It became a distraction that lasted many years. So feeling rejected and insecure sometimes at heart, I quietly made a mission of becoming a famous writer, only to find myself one day replaying the issues of approval and rejection in 100-fold at the mailbox as I awaited word from countless strangers that were known as editors and publishers. I was stunned and relieved to finally discover myself at the same threshold of loving myself that I had run from years and years before. And the thresholds go nowhere, people. It is we who, in our readiness and experience, keep coming back to them, because the soul knows only one way to fulfill itself, and that is to take in what is true and to absorb it into who we know we are. You are not a static human being that will learn a finite amount of things and knowledge. You are indeed limitless. And if you understand that all of these experiences you have in life are here to teach you only one thing, that you deserve. And because you know you deserve, you will receive more love, more abundance, more health, more happiness, and more joy in all your relationships. Because you see, all those things you seek and all of those things, they don't come from them. They come from inside you. The minute you discover that, then those inner doors open and the whole world becomes a playground. Amor fati. Embrace your fate. Whatever it is, good or bad, you're alive. How sweet is that? Good night.